This video is sponsored by War Thunder, a free-to-play game which is available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile. More on that later. If we look at pictures of Wehrmacht soldiers at the beginning and at the end of World War II, one constant was the standard German service rifle, the Carabiner 98k, a bolt-action rifle that had its origins in 1898. Why did Germany keep using this rifle throughout the Second World War? Did they undertake attempts to replace this service rifle? And if so, what prototypes were developed? Keep watching! In the late 19th century, German inventor Paul Mauser revolutionized firearms by perfecting a bolt-action design that was safe, accurate, and reliable. His first creation, the Mauser model 1871, was a single-shot black powder rifle, but it wouldn't be long before his designs evolved into repeaters, magazine-fed rifles, and finally something that would dominate battlefields across the world. The first major leap came with the Mauser 7184, which introduced a tubular magazine, but smokeless powder changed everything in the 1880s. Soon Mauser was producing rifles like the Model 1889 for Belgium and the 1891 Argentine, which could be reloaded faster using stripper clips. The Model 1893, adopted by Spain and the Ottoman Empire, brought with it a staggered 5-round magazine and the legendary 7mm Mauser cartridge. Each new version added safety improvements, stronger bolts, and better ergonomics. By the mid-1890s, the Mauser was the most sought-after bolt-action rifle in the world. In 1898, Germany adopted the Gewehr 98, a long rifle with a 29-inch barrel and great accuracy. Carbines and other variants were created before World War I and in the interwar period. The Carabiner 98k was adopted in 1935, a shorter, more efficient version of the Gewehr 98. The new rifle was officially adopted as the Car 98k from the German Kurz or short in June 1935 and went into production at both Mauser and Sauer factories, the latter switching over to use Mauser-style barrel bands. Although officially designated a carbine, the Car 98k was actually a similar length to the short universal rifles adopted by the British and Americans. It was intended for issue to all troops, replacing both rifle and carbine. The adoption of the Car 98k coincided with Hitler's repudiation of the limitations of the Versailles Treaty imposed on Germany's armed forces, and Hitler reintroduced conscription. The German army was to be expanded, and that meant the demand for the new rifle far exceeded supply, and additional manufacturers were quickly brought into the program. War Thunder is the sponsor of today's video. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game that has been created. You can jump into the game right now, completely free on PC, console or mobile. Command an arsenal of over 2,500 vehicles, including tanks, planes, helicopters and warships from 10 major nations. From early 20th century biplanes and armored cars to cutting-edge jets and modern main battle tanks, the game spans nearly a century of military hardware. War Thunder delivers intense, action-packed battles with stunning visuals, authentic sound design, a meticulously detailed vehicle that puts you right into the heart of the action. Join a massive global community of over 70 million players in thrilling PvP combat and explore an unparalleled military experience. Whether you're a long-time military enthusiast or just love epic vehicle warfare, War Thunder offers a depth and realism that few games can match. It's available now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile. Just follow the link in the pinned comment or description to get started. Plus, if you're new or haven't played in a while, 6 months or more, you'll get a huge bonus pack on PC and console, including exclusive premium vehicles, in-game currency and more. The K98k kept Mauser's iconic features: controlled feed action, 5-round internal magazine, and superb accuracy, but simplified the design to just 29 parts. Between 1934 and 1945, over 14.6 million K98k rifles were produced. not just by Mauser, but by dozens of factories across Nazi Germany and occupied Europe. The K98k was the workhorse of the Wehrmacht, fighting in Norway, France, the USSR, just to name a few places. Against bold action foes like the Mauser Nagant or the Enfield, it held its own. But against semi-automatics like the American M1 Garand, it showed its age. Although the Kar-98k rifle was used throughout World War II, it went through several small changes over time, mostly to make production easier and faster. So why didn't the Germans try to create a semi-automatic standard service rifle to replace the K98k? During World War II, several German infantry weapons were developed and fielded alongside the Karabiner 98k. These included rifles, submachine guns, machine guns, pistols, and even experimental assault rifles. Most famous was the Sturmgewehr 44, assault rifle 44. Before this automatic rifle was produced, two semi-automatic rifles were created, the Gewehr 41 and the Gewehr 43. The Gewehr 41, designed by German firearm manufacturer Walter, was made in small numbers, around 120,000 rifles. It turned out to be heavier and less reliable than the standard Kar-98k. Even though it had a 10-round magazine, it was still loaded with the usual 5-round clips, so it didn't offer a big improvement in firepower. By 1943, after studying captured Soviet Tokarev rifles, the Germans realized that using a gas system drilled into the barrel was a better option. So they replaced the Gewehr 41's complicated gas trap system with a simpler gas piston, creating the Gewehr 43. This newer rifle had a detachable 10-round magazine for quicker reloading and was easier to mass produce. Over 400,000 were made, and it was meant to replace the Kar-98k, but by then other designs were also being explored. The German Air Force had developed the FG-42 for paratroopers. It was a select fire rifle that used standard rifle ammo and had a 20-round magazine. It was as powerful as a light machine gun, but the size of a regular rifle. However, it was hard to control when firing full auto, and not many were produced. At the same time, Germany realized that most fighting happened at ranges under 300 meters and not 1000 meters. Rifle rounds were designed for, so they created a shorter round, the 9.92 33mm Kurz, which was lighter, used fewer materials, and had less recoil. This new round was used in a new type of weapon, the first true assault rifle. It had a 30-round magazine, could fire in bursts or single shot, and used cheap stamped parts. It became the MP43 and later MP44. These were meant to replace both the Kar-98k and the MP40 submachine gun. Around 426,000 were made. However, Germany's factories were under constant attack and lacked the labor and materials to produce enough of these new rifles. In the end, only about 1 million semi-automatic and assault rifles were built, compared to 14 million Kar-98ks, which stayed in full production until the war's end. The G41 and G42 didn't fully replace the K98k, despite being semi-automatic and theoretically superior. The G41 wasn't reliable enough to replace the proven K98k. The G43 and STG-44 were too late in the war to equip the entire army with a new standard rifle. The German High Command continued using the Karabiner 98k throughout World War II, despite developing more advanced rifles for several practical reasons. First and foremost was production. The K98k was already mass-produced, well understood by both manufacturers and soldiers, and could be built quickly with available resources. New rifles like the Gewehr 41, Gewehr 43 and later the Sturmgewehr 44 were more complex, harder to produce and required materials and tooling that were in short supply, especially as Allied bombing crippled German industry. Logistics also played a major role. The K98k was reliable, durable and had a proven track record. Training millions of troops on new weapons during an intense war was risky and time consuming. Plus, the K98k used standard 7.92 57mm ammunition, which was already being produced in massive quantities and distributed across all fronts. While rifles like the GE43 and STG44 were technically superior in many ways, offering faster firing rates and better performance at short to medium range, they were never produced in sufficient numbers to fully replace the K98k. Ultimately, Germany stuck with the Mauser not because it was the best weapon available, but because it was the most practical under wartime conditions. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to play it for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or mobile now by using my links in the pinned comment or video description. And remember, new and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack including multiple premium vehicles available for a limited time only. Learn about Germany's last ditch weapons by clicking here. Thanks for watching as always, and the History Hustler is signing off.